So like Mark comes on now, but his term will expire October 2024, so he's going to be here only a year, and then he'll be finished if he would like to, because he's finishing Mr. Conrad's term, Jordan. So I guess that was the part, I visited with the mayor about it today. I hadn't recognized that that's really how it goes. So like Roland Van Tassel, March the 21st, and I think that's probably when he started, but then he'll end his term in 2025. So I guess it's, the reason this is this way is so that everyone doesn't leave at once. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then they can, if they want to, they can re-up. And so Mark, even though his term ends in 2024, a year from now, he would, if he wanted to continue, I'm sure everything was agreeable, he could continue on.
Yeah.
Do we try to go for 3-year terms? Okay.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I have on that.
Oh, right there, 3 years until or.
So then we'll swear Mark in. Lindsay, I guess you'll do that. Let's see, then we're going to have a employee recognition award to, I call him Jimmy, but James Munns. Chief, you're going to present that and take care of that for us. Maybe, I don't know, I'm sure everybody kind of knows what happened there, but maybe we can, do you want to kind of give us a little brief synopsis of what kind of happened and how, this is something you guys do day in and day out, but this one was unique and something worth noting.
I would certainly like to say that we're ready day in and day out, but these kinds of events fortunately don't occur very often. And when they do occur, they often don't have a good outcome. But individual was driving, looking for an address, trying to find a location. The belief is she'd missed her turn. We know that. She'd gone past where she intended to be, was trying to figure out where she was supposed to turn, and she drove off the road into the canal. Mid-50s female in a full-size truck drove off the road into the canal. The cab, the driver's side of the cab was fully submerged underwater. Jimmy was on his way to work out at Northrop, his fire department out at Northrop, volunteer for us as well, or part-time with us. But he's on his way out there and recognizes that there's an accident of some kind, knows that Tremont Fire Department has been paged to an incident, but since he was on his way to work, he wasn't responding to that incident, didn't know for sure where Tremont was en route to. And then he sees the wreck and realizes, I'm there. So he pulls over, sees some bystanders, recognizes that the cab of the truck is mostly underwater. He says to the bystanders, is somebody in there? And they said, well, we think somebody's in there. So he climbed up on top of the cab. It was on his side. Was able to get a passenger door open, jump down into the water. It was dusk, so mostly dark outside, and the water was black, completely. So he goes into the water, feeling his way into the water, and finds a person still strapped in the driver's seat in their seatbelt. So he comes up, he gets a pocket knife that, if you know Jimmy, he's known for always having a pocket knife. He goes back into the water with his pocket knife, is able to cut both the lap belt and the chest restraint, and then is able to lift the woman out of the water. At this point, she is not conscious and she is not breathing. At that point, Josh and the rest of, who's the captain on the engine that day, the rest of the crew has just arrived. They get into the canal, get up on top of the truck, and Jimmy's able to push and lift this individual up out of the cab, and then the crew is able to get her out. They get her out onto the side of the canal, and they start CPR. By the time they get her loaded in the ambulance, they're achieving what we call ROSC. It's a spontaneous pulse by the patient. So they're able to restore her pulse rate. She had no pulse when they first started CPR. not breathing and no pulse. By the time they get her in the ambulance, they're able to get the pulse restored. She's still not breathing on her own. So then they continue breathing for her, get her to the hospital. She gets flown to, I believe she went to Salt Lake.
I think IMC, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, IMC is where I believe she was. She was in intensive care there for 3 or 4 days. Then they were able to take her off the ventilator, and now we're told she's home, recovering at home. Still has some therapy and some deficits and some things that she's working through, but she is, and her family are extremely grateful that Jimmy was able to get started, getting her out of that vehicle before the on-duty crews were able to get to her. And him being in the right place at the right time and having the courage to get into that dark black water and feel around for a patient accelerated our ability to get her out in time. Had he have not been there and continued on, or then our crew would have certainly jumped into action, but would likely have not been fast enough.
So, Chief, how long do you think what's the guess?
Well, we know that typically you can be without oxygen for about 4 minutes before you lose your pulse rate. So
Okay.
she was likely somewhere between 4 to 6 minutes, just based on medical condition, that she was underwater, unable to rescue herself. Could have been longer, 7 minutes maybe. Any longer than that, she would not be recovering. So. No, would not likely be recovering.
So the people that were on the bank,
Uh-huh.
they hadn't been there very long either.
They hadn't been there very long either. I don't know that it was a witnessed event. I was under the belief that somebody had seen the vehicle go in, but not able to jump into the water and perform a rescue. The first person that was willing to jump in the water and kind of submerge themselves to go in looking for a patient was Jimmy.
Had he had training on that?
Well, we certainly do a considerable amount of training of how to what we call extricate a patient out of a wrecked vehicle. That's a very common training for us. We don't train on doing it underwater. That's next level. That was on his own.
But see, Jimmy knew that, no, you don't worry about spinal immobilization,
You just get him out.
that. He just knew he had to get her up and out of that water.
Yeah. And it said it, he felt like it, in his mind, took him some time to find the seatbelts, get one cut, find another seatbelt, get it cut. He felt like, in his mind, it was a long time, but based on the bystanders, it was very, very quick.
Cutting
So-
through the seatbelt's not easy to do.
They're made not to be able to be cut, right? They're not.
Jimmy makes knives.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He
he's a
makes 'em, and
manufacturer.
you can split hairs with
very, very sharp.
the knives that Jimmy makes.
He was the right
Gorgeous
guy
too.
then.
So we're very thankful that we're able to recognize him in front of the council today, and certainly we recognize that he is representing both Tremont Fire Department and Northrop Fire Department. He wears both of those hats, and we're certainly grateful for that opportunity to show him that gratitude and recognize him,
Which he does not like.
which he's not super excited to get the attention, but it's very well deserved. And I would recognize the remainder of the crew as well was also there and ready, but it was really Jimmy that was in the right place at the right time.
And then did y'all see the rest of the story when Maldemel, I happened to call Sucan. He says, well, what'd you do? I says, somebody probably ought to take her some cereal because
She was on her way to do the cereal purchase.
cereal sale.
Cereal?
I called Sucan.
Yeah.
And he says, great idea. And then
Yeah.
I says, well, we're going to do Jimmy. I says, what would you do for Jimmy? I says, everybody loves cereal, Mark. And he went, you're right. So they took a whole bunch to her house and then took a bunch to Jimmy's.
Yeah.
So that's that wonderful business that we have in town too.
Yes.
I think that came out in the media is that she was on her way to do that cereal purchase. And so that's where Sucan and others wanted to step in. And
You said it was before light, right? So it was
based on the photos that I saw, it was just getting, just daybreak.
a little.
So it was dark in that water. It was,
See, they start shift out there at 7. So
yeah. So, yeah, so he was on it, and so it would have been 6:30 or
Or just
It
a
was
wee
the day
better.
of the big cereal sell that
Yeah,
hundreds of
that
people got
Saturday.
online
Yeah.
for, and
so we're really proud of him and excited that he, a chance to recognize him. Thanks for that opportunity.
Thank you.
If you can get Jimmy to say a few words, try, but I don't know if he will.
He may.
He may.
Yeah, we'll coax
He was
him.
pretty humble on his interview with the news.
Yeah. Well, it's really good.
Yeah.
We're proud of him and proud of you guys and
I should
all of
say.
our, everybody.
awesome.
We're proud of
good.
everything that gets done around here. Okay, we have a public hearing. This is for the municipal utility easement that's going to be vacated over there on, by Beer Mountain Road. Sean, do you want to just bring us up, make sure everybody knows where this is at and the reason for the vacating the property?
Yes. So here's a map of the easement itself. Just to orient yourself, this is BR Mountain Road, and this is the segment. This is right where the existing pavement ended, but here recently they actually extended the pavement all the way to the Ashfield Apartments, which is really what you see here in this image. And 2650 West, I believe, is that?
2650.
Is now extended and ties into BR Mountain Road. So it's pretty common, as you know, the regional storm drain basin for this area of the city is on the south side of BR Mountain Road, which the city's now acquired. But previous to that, and it's pretty common where there's a large landholder who owns land and who's doing different subdivision phases will allow the next phase, the undeveloped portion of the next phase, to accommodate a storm drain until we actually have the permanent location for the storm drain basin. And that's what's occurred here. It was a recorded easement, and because it's a recorded easement, there's a process that we need to go through, which requires a public hearing and requires an ordinance to be adopted by the city council, based upon your findings that there's good reason to vacate the easement and that no one will be materially injured. And there is no other, this property, I believe that what's being contemplated here meets both of those thresholds. And with the improvement of River Valley 8, that's the subdivision that's being developed currently right now that's encumbered by this easement. It will have the infrastructure that will convey the storm water to the south side of BR Mountain Road, where we will develop our storm drain basin.
He was paving that last week, but I haven't been back out since I seen him paving. Have you been out by chance?
I haven't,
It's,
but
did you ask if it's been paved?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It was
done.
paving last week and
Yeah, it's nice and pretty right now, so. So this 2650, is that tying into where those
Yep.
townhomes are gonna be right there?
Yeah.
That's that area.
it is. And it's a collector road. It's planned to be a collector road. It'll extend all the way up to 1000 North.
The
2650.
2650, okay.
So Lila, you're talking about the Ashfield Apartments, right?
yes, it's just
Ashfield.
before them, just
Yeah,
on the east end.
yeah. Yeah,
That's all it is.
So we're just
Yeah.
vacating that easement right there, and we'll have the other larger, or the park and all the
Where you see the
new,
right, the crosshatched area is the area that you would vacate. And as I mentioned, they have storm drain piping now in the road that will convey water to its intended location.
any questions? For Sean?
that park looks pretty nice.
What does?
The park,
Oh, what's being contemplated?
yes, looks really good.
Okay, new council business. So discussion and consideration of adopting ordinance number 23-06, approving a petition to vacate, this is what we just talked about, sorry. Discussion in the item B, discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 23-63, approving a professional services contract with Landmark Design to create a water use conservation element as part of the Tremont City General Plan and Water Conserving Land Use Ordinance. Sean?
So now that Tremont City is a fourth-class city, state law requires us, and it's been a really recent state code amendment that requires cities to do a water conservation element of its general plan based upon land use patterns. And it has some specific criteria which we will need to evaluate in our plan. And we are proposing that we use Landmark Design to do this piece of the work. They, as you know, recently completed our land use plan, and so they're also landscape architects, and so they're well positioned to do this type of work, not only based upon their history and knowledge with Tremont City, but just based on their professional expertise. And so the idea is that they'll go through the planning process, meet all the requirements of the state code. This land use process and document will create policies which will be enacted through the actual landscape ordinance. And so you'll have a policy, but it'll actually be, the implementation really comes through adopting an ordinance that, city staff would apply as we evaluate development in the future. And this is something that Wes has talked to me about for a year or so, and it's been a little bit delayed, but we're in a good position now to move forward. They anticipate that the planning process will take up until about August is what they envision, and we've already talked to the Planning Commission about the scope of work. They'll be, as you know, as one of the duties of the Planning Commission, it's a delegated duty through the state code, is for them to review and participate in the creation of these types of plans and making recommendations to the city council.
So, Sean, this is a requirement because we became a fourth-class city then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of piggybacking on that, the county is working on a plan, a countywide water conservation plan, and currently underway right now. But this idea of making sure that we have a plan in place, so we have a lot of water up here. We've got a lot of farming and a lot of irrigation water and everything, and that doesn't go unnoticed. And other communities and other places down south would like to be able to get a hold of that. So the idea of the county-wide water conservation plan is to get everybody on the same page talking. We're not, they're not trying to come in and dictate to Tremont City how things ought to be done, but Tremont City needs to be involved in the discussion and all of this kind of thing, so that we have a plan in place if that time ever does come and somebody's coming after our water, because then we have something in place, a plan in place. And so that on November the 2nd, there's going to be our first kind of meeting with the different entities, different communities, different water districts, and all that kind of thing, and get this discussion going. If anybody would like to participate in that or be involved at that, you're sure welcome to be part of that discussion as we get this thing going. So it's going to be a big deal, and hopefully this will be something that'll kind of mesh with what we're trying to do here in Tremont City. Mm-hmm. So this will be, things like flip your strip sort of thing and putting, I hate the word xeriscape, but at least water-wise landscaping. But that's part of this landscape, that's part of what they're going to be able to produce for us.
It will. I mean, I'm not sure exactly we're going to do the flip the strip. I'm not saying that we're not, but it's those types of issues that they'll be evaluating and addressing through this planning process, and ultimately, being formalized and implemented through a landscape ordinance.
See, can we tie that into our planning and zoning? I mean, that on Fourth West in front of Matheson's is gorgeous, but it's grass between the sidewalk and the curb. Is there any way that we can start either requiring or asking if they'll go to a zero-scape on, because is that not our biggest wasted water is park bonds?
Yeah.
Toughest ones to keep, it was always the toughest to keep green for me. So I poured mine into cement. I got zero-scape, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking is that if these guys can come up with a plan, that we can maybe start getting our developers and maybe even the subdivisions.
Yeah.
When you're sitting down to do a scope with these guys, can that be part of our request for the $25,000? Is because I keep hearing about these personal grants, to take your strip out and that type of stuff. I mean, if they could help us with that information so that we could get it out to the
Yeah.
public, that's going to save a lot of water right there.
Yeah, and I agree, and they certainly can. And to answer Wes's questions, we can start addressing park strips. I think, honestly, the biggest issue with park strips, and it's easier done when you have a multifamily project because you have one developer that's developing the site. When you do subdivisions and they're single-family lots, then you have each homeowner that's landscaping. And then it gets a little harder to legislate, how that looks. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it becomes a little bit more challenging administratively. So, we'll evaluate all these things as we go through the process, and ultimately you'll, as the city council and legislative body, will be the one that makes the final decisions. But giving some good direction, is appreciated.
Sean, Mayor, it's my understanding that you already have in the plan, in the land use plan, when a developer comes, we're encouraging them to use different plants and different whatever in their landscape that's conducive to, that will save water. Isn't that right?
I think
general
so.
rule?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to remember specifically. It's been a while since I read through the land use plan, but
But that's what I remember, is that it's encouraging, when we meet with the developer, we're encouraging them to plant things that do well in a drought, in a desert,
yeah,
basically.
right. And we can get really specific in the landscape ordinance. What that looks like, plant material, plant species. It really depends on how detailed the council, and planning commission feel is appropriate. We do a couple things. One thing I just mentioned real in brief is right now we do have a landscape ordinance for commercial sites, and it limits it to 50% in turf. And a lot of people have been voluntarily, doing no turf. Really, frankly, the issue that I see there is when you have less turf, you need more planting. And if you go, to some of the sites that have just essentially voluntarily done plants, it's really sparse, the planting, compared to the park strip that we did, for example, in front of Jeannie Stevens Park. And so when you actually, in my mind, when you reduce the grass requirement, you need to increase the plant material requirement to sort of offset and have, landscapes that have year-round interest and different, different things occurring within the landscape at different times of the year. So I think, I feel like actually Tree Mountain City would be a better place, not only from the water conservation perspective, but but I would anticipate from sort of the visual impact as well, just, just having some more parameters in which to have designs being done within the city.
Sometimes people just don't have a kind of a concept of what, maybe something that could be part of this. I don't know if it is possible or not, but maybe ideas, landscaping ideas that would be water-wise. Landscaping ideas, and they had some examples, so people could look at them and, oh yeah, that's something that maybe I could do.
And if you're really interested, Landmark Design did, this would be next level. For Spanish Fork, they did I don't know if I want to call it a handbook, but they essentially tried to give an illustrative guide to homeowners to help them through the process, because it isn't always easy to design and to implement some of these landscapes, especially on a homeowner level. And this isn't included in this scope of work, but they could do it, after it. He showed me an example of what it looked like, and I could certainly pass it on to you, and you could take a look. It would be above and beyond this contract.
Well, it's maybe something we could look at down the road.
Yep.
All right. Any questions on that?
Budget? Do we have budget for it?
We did, yeah. We budgeted, we anticipated that there was going to be several different planning studies being done this year through professional services or contracted professional contracts, this being one. We also have Midland Square, which we'll be talking about on this next agenda. Transportation and annexation, I think, are all within this year's budget, so.
Okay, let's see. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 23-64, approving a professional services contract with Downtown Redevelopment Services, an urban designer firm, to design improvements for the Midland Square including restrooms, permanent stage, electrical pedestals, and so forth. And all this is money that we were able to get through that Rural Opportunities grant that will help pay for this service. I don't know, Shondi, this is kind of an exciting thing that we're looking at maybe starting in the early spring.
Well, the planning process will start immediately, but the construction, we hope to get underway, spring, summertime. We do have, as the mayor mentioned, a grant to do this. This is going to come out of the Parks Fund because this will be, a portion of this will be impact fee eligible. The portion that the city spends on this project would be considered impact fee eligible. If it's adding capacity, so the stage, I think, would add capacity to the venue. The restrooms would be a capacity adding project, I believe. And potentially the electric pedestals would also, I think, be an impact fee eligible project. But that said, what we wanted to do is have an urban designer help us to make sure that we got the design right instead of just spending money without good design perspective and input. And so Ben Levinger's here. He's with Downtown Redevelopment Services. They were a part of our previous urban planning process. He was a subcontractor. Ben was a subcontractor under Sorn. So he's the one that did some of the imagery in our Main Street downtown urban design guidelines and also did the streetscape.
So I'm looking at your attachment 1, this is this what we're proposing?
Attachment 1, I'm anticipating might be, is it a drawing?
Yeah, it's a drawing.
That was the drawing that was done originally in the early 2000s, which envisioned that there would be a stage, which was never constructed.
Okay. So this was what was originally, okay.
Yeah. So just to give you a little bit more background, so we put out an RFP, and I reached out to Ben, encouraged him to apply along with others, and we're grateful that Ben did apply. There was a committee that reviewed the work and had an interview, and Ben gave us a presentation, and that's included in some of these attached materials as well. But through this review with the selection committee, they're recommending that we move forward with hiring Ben. The other thing I would just say too, just as a point of clarification, I do believe we have the money within the Park Impact Fee Fund. We are transferring, you might recall, money from the RDA into the Impact Fee Fund so that we get credit for it as an impact fee eligible expense. And if you want to know more, we could certainly spend a moment talking about that. But the budget that we got, I think we got $405,000 of state funds, which is great. It signals that they believe that this is a worthy project and one that they're willing to invest in. We had a 30% match, which I think was $180-ish, 179, I want to say.
Something's what I remember.
And here is what those numbers look like. Looks like 173. It didn't necessarily. We had a planning and engineering line item of about $75,000. So we'll see. There's been a lot of changes in construction costs. Since we first contemplated this project. But we'll see how far this budget takes us.
Any questions? So let's move on then. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 23-65, approving a real estate purchase agreement between Tree Mountain City and Blake C. Christensen, trustee et al., for Tree Mountain City's purchase of land for the future expansion of Rocket Road, minor arterial road.
Yeah.
I guess we're going back to you on this one as well, Sean.
Yeah, and Ben just stepped out. Was there any questions for Ben? I kind of failed to. Did the council?
You guys have,
We could grab him if we need to answer questions. Okay, with Ben.
we're just grateful that they agreed to do it. So,
Yeah. So I think everyone understands and realizes that we are trying to acquire and expand Rocket Road from 100 east up to the railroad tracks, which I think is about 300 west. And, through the subdivision process, we've exacted a lot of the right-of-way, but it just so happens that Blake Christensen owns 2 parcels that are within that corridor that are already developed as residential homes, and there's just not going to be an opportunity in the foreseeable future to acquire the property without purchasing the property. And so that's what is being proposed here. The city did receive corridor preservation funds, which a portion of what's being proposed as the overall expense, and I want to say it's in the neighborhood of $163,000. Half of that, we anticipate, roughly half, will be reimbursed through the county corridor preservation fund. Blake's been great to work with, and I think he is. I think he's ready to see it us move forward, mostly because he can see the need for it, and so the hope is that we can go ahead and acquire the property in short order and get Rocky Mountain Power scheduled to move the power lines. Once the power lines are moved to their final location, then Jay Stocking with Heritage Land Holdings will go ahead and make the frontage improvements in front of Harvest Village and Harvest Acres. Harvest Village, as you know, is the is the attached housing that's going to be here recorded, I anticipate in the next week or so. And the other development is the single-family homes on the west side of Blake that are already being developed, but do not have street frontage improvements because we need to move those power lines. The last thing, once we get this property acquired, I do need to mention that we do need to work with the canal company because the title's a little clouded on ownership in the area, and so the surveyor felt like we needed to have them sign off. I've started that conversation with Trevor, and I believe Paul had an extended conversation with him. We have a little diagram. We're trying to meet his concerns and make sure that the canal company, can continue to maintain their canals with this expanded right-of-way. So that is one piece that's left.
Now, at one time, Paul told me that he thought it would cost us about $200,000 to extend the bridge, if you will. That's what it would cost the city to do that, because obviously right now, it's narrow.
Right.
We've had some cars hit the barriers already because they're not paying attention, and there's weeds up around it, but still, they've gone. I've seen Volkswagen Bugs, up on top of the guardrails or whatever they are, so the cement rails. So I'm hoping that at some point that could be widened. I know it's $200,000, or that's
Part of this project, isn't it?
Well, Chris, I believe, is doing some of the design work right now. So we have, as you know, everyone's committed to do 1,000 North, and we're trying to acquire that right away now and hope to do the construction this spring. We have 1650, which is a contractual obligation for Collector Road, which is by Stott's Equipment on the south side of Main Street. And then this one is also, I think, a priority that the council's mentioned. So I think, to answer your question, I'm not certain when we can start and if we can incrementally do that. I'm hoping that we can more or less jump in and get all of it done. Our portion will be where Harvest Acres ends. I don't know, Lindsay, can you pull up the GIS web browser on the? So we have a little bit of frontage in addition to Blake's frontage, and it's on the south side where the canal is. I don't know if you can envision in your mind, but the canal turns and Harvest Village ends, and that property would be property improved by
Who owns
Tremont.
that land?
I think we do. So the canal company, as I mentioned, and it's not going to show up on the parcel as a parcel that they own, but the canal company, I think, is more or less on the north side that we need to work with them on. But obviously they have interest on the south side as well, and they claim an easement that's anywhere from 50 feet to 100 feet. So
Be able to maintain
maintain.
the canal.
So you're waiting for the surveyors to get all this stuff straightened out before you make final offers?
No, we do have the legal descriptions that we need to move forward with Blake. What I need to do is just have, work with the canal company to more or less approve, I don't know if I need to get them to improve the construction documents or not, or what approval they need, but I guess that part is a little cloudy. In part, oh, go ahead.
I just need to share a story because we ran into this problem all the time with the bank. And, back in the good old days, Brigham Young's days, when all of the plot maps were put together, they had to hand draw those canals in. And I was involved with one up, the worst one was up in East Garland. And after we did a survey, the neighbor had been paying for 32 acres that weren't his for taxes for 100 years. The canal was drawn in not exactly where it was at. And then, of course, when you start taking, pictures and that type of stuff, I'd be really careful and get the surveyors done to find out whose is whose before you start buying it.
Yeah, and we have had a survey done. I don't know, I think on one of the attachments,
It happened a lot, especially with the canals.
Yeah.
And you got a twist going on there, so.
right there, if you could blow that up. And that is an interesting
That is.
description of how we get into these issues. And that makes complete sense. But you were right there. You probably realize that, Lindsay. See if you can blow it up a little further. What the surveyor's telling me is that, no, right there. Scroll down a little bit, up, I mean. That little corner square right there. I think if you scroll down to that dedication table, if you would, Lindsay, which is right there. Yeah, he's not even listed. He listed the Bear River Canal Company, but didn't necessarily assign any footage to them. See if you'd scroll down a little more and see if there's anything.
So is this the
Further.
county records that you're looking at here, this plot map?
Oh, there we go. So for the PUE and MUE. So this is a survey that Alliance Engineering, Brian Lyons, did, and he was the surveyor that worked with Jay Stocking on his development and just continued through the process and did the survey work on this right of way for the entirety.
Well, then he's looked at it. He's put his stamp on it.
Yeah.
He should be fine then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we just need to formalize their approval. The canal company wanted a few things wrapped up and wanted just preserve their ability to maintain the canals. But, they're kind of hard to, we'll continue to have that conversation and bring it to conclusion.
That's going to be
Any other
good.
questions, council? Okay. Let's see, we got a few minutes. Calendar review, anything there? Lindsay was able to get our Christmas get-together put together the 19th of December, and we were lucky to get it. So 6 o'clock on the 19th of December, we're going to go down to Maddox and let's see, we got one council meeting in November and a big question mark on any council meetings in December, correct?
One potentially on the,
Second.
Yeah.
Hey, will you print one of them maps on this side or calendars over here?
Steve used to print those for us. So I don't know
Well.
if he's going to now.
Call him down, buy him a Diet Coke, have him print out.
Plotters.
Okay, we'll get Paul and Zach.
But I need them on this
On
side
this
because
Okay,
I can't see without my glasses and it's blurry with them. I need one. Please.
Okay, let's see, branding implementation, unfinished business. I guess we can just kind of go through that when we've got a few minutes. Why don't we, Lindsay, rather than at the end of the meeting, could you bring up that PowerPoint? This might be a good time to do it right now. So I've kind of tracked our water usage for the last, since I've had anything to do with this. And, when people say that we're running out of water, I beg to differ. So maybe I can just kind of explain this chart to you. The hash, well, you can see our capacity at the top and then our base use. That kind of gives us, you can kind of see what our usage is through the year. And then the hashed line, the red hash line is 2017. And I don't know if you remember or not, but back in 2017, we exceeded our capacity for a week or two. And Chris, our engineers, he got pretty nervous about it. We all got pretty nervous about it, if you remember. And that sort of spurred we better do something about secondary water. Well, this is 2023, so it's current. I just brought it up to date today. And you can see down at the bottom, you can see the bottom line is the secondary water usage. The blue line is our culinary usage, and the green line is just the addition of the two. So it's our total use. And so let's click on that other slide. This is, okay, so this is 2019. This is right after we kind of got started with secondary water. And you can see, I don't have to explain, you can kind of see what's going on there. But my point here is secondary, there is a definite impact to our secondary water decision. So go back to the other one now. So that blue line is the impact. We're not using as much culinary water. We aren't at any sort of risk level, with our capacity or anything like that. And then if we get this ASR going and we add another 10 million gallons of capacity to our system, you can just see where we're going. And so I'd like, just to kind of show that, and it kind of goes along with this WaterWise plan that we have. We have a lot more people in well, I shouldn't say a lot more people, but we have more people from 2019 to now, and yet our total water usage is pretty consistent. Go back to the other one. So with, we're using more, but not excessively more. But the big story is that our secondary water program is making an impact on our city.
Like almost a million gallons a day
Yeah,
is going, that we're saving during them hot months,
yeah, yeah.
just under.
So and then as this next unit or service area 4 comes on down Tremont Street, and more and more people over in the Bessinger area and Holmgren area come online, you can see that this is going to reduce the culinary water usage. And so anyway.
And Mayor, I would add that the other thing that I think is important for people to know in Tremont is that it's one thing to have quality water, and it's another thing to have quantity of water. And we're blessed to have both.
Yeah.
We have great tasting water, and we have enough of it. And so those individuals that feel like we're not going to make it, they're not looking at the data.
They're not looking at the information, and yeah, you're right. Tremont is more than just about any other community around here. We're surrounded by the canal system, so it's sort of a competitive advantage that we have. And I attended the COG meeting last night, and Elwood City they're gearing up to go to secondary water. We're very fortunate that we got on it as early as we did, because we were able to buy all those shares at a reasonable price. It's just going to get more and more expensive to purchase water shares from, so anyway.
Great.
All right, we got about 10 minutes. Let's take a break and meet back here at 7 o'clock. We can go ahead and get started. We'd like to welcome everybody out to our City Council meeting this evening. We're grateful that you're here. We have a special treat for tonight. We've asked, Scout Troop 126 volunteered to give us our flag ceremony tonight, and we're going to have them do that. And we want to thank their Scoutmaster, Bryson Kofed, for arranging this and making sure this is all put together, and it looks like you guys are ready to go. And after, maybe what we'll do is I'm going to have Jackson Worthen. Where's Jackson at? Is he back there? Jackson, we usually start with a word of prayer. So we're going to ask you to come up here, and maybe where people can hear you, can you just come up to the podium and there'll be a microphone there so people can hear you. And he's going to give us an opening word of prayer. And then Scout Troop 126 will present the flag.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come here before Thee tonight to tell Thee that we are grateful that we could all make it here safely, and for Thy protection over us, and in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jackson.
Audience attention. Color guard attention. Audience proper hand salute. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Please present the colors of the United States of America flag. Repeat the Pledge of Allegiance after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two. Color guard reassemble. Color guard forward march. Audience, you may be seated. Color guard dismissed.
Well done, you guys. Well done. Thank you so much. Again, this is troop number 126, and you guys are from South Tremont? All over Tremont, yeah. All over Tremont. Okay. All right. Well, well done. Very proud of you. You may have noticed that we all are wearing, it just didn't happen this way, that we all this is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so we all decided that we would recognize this month. And so here we are wearing our pink, and actually we've got our firefighters and fire chief, he's actually doing it too. So we're grateful you guys joined in on the fun. Anyway, thank you. I just would like to introduce our staff and council to you, so that those of you maybe that don't know us get to know us a little bit better. Over to my left over here, we have Sean Warnke, our city manager. Up on the bench here, we have Wes Eastep, Councilmember Wes Eastep, Councilwoman Connie Archibald, Councilman Lyle Vance, and over here to my right, Councilman Brett Rohde and Councilman Rick Siemens. Then our Lindsay Nessen, our city recorder, Mark Christensen back over here with the blue shirt is our Assistant City Manager. Paul Fulgham is our Public Works Director, but he's away. He has some other business out of state, so we've excused him. Chief Dustin Cordova, usually he's here. He may have been called out this evening. He's our police chief. And Chief Brady Hanson, there he is, right back there in the back. And Sarah Mormon, who is our our Main Street manager and social media manager. We appreciate all of you for being here with us tonight. Council, are there any conflicts of interest? We're good to go? Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda for this evening.
Motion by Rick,
I'll second it.
seconded by Lyle. Vance, all in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of October 3rd, 2023.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for October 3rd, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion by Connie and seconded by Wes. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Appointments and oath of office. So this is an opportunity for us to appoint another member of our Planning Commission. So with that, we have a resolution number, let's see, I might as well read this right from the start. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 23-62, appointing Mark Thompson to serve on the Tremonton City Planning Commission and reaffirming and appointing existing Planning Commission members. Any discussion on that? I think just so you all know, we had a work session before this. We've pretty much gone through all of this. So if we just kind of go through this without talking about it too much, that's why. Council, any
You got
questions?
something, don't you, Connie?
May I introduce
Oh, yes.
Mark Thompson?
Let's get this one done and then we'll do the swearing in and that's when we'll do that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 23-62, appointing Mark Thompson to serve on the Tremont City Planning Commission.
I'll second.
Motion by Lyle Vance and seconded by Rick. Let's see, Rick?
Rick, aye.
Brad, aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Connie Archibald, aye.
Wes, aye.
Motion passes. There you are. Okay, come on up here, Mark. I'm going to turn the time over to Connie for a little bit, and she's going to kind of introduce you to the group.
Okay, I want to introduce Mark. Mark has lived in Tremonton since 1980. He grew up in Colorado, both Greeley and Colorado Springs area. His wife, Sandy Smith Thompson, grew up in Tremonton, and they have 5 children and 12 grandchildren. Mark currently lives at 970 West, 520 North. He has been a member of the Volunteer Fire Department for 43 years. Wow, absolutely. He has 3 educational degrees, which is outstanding. He has a degree in education, a fire degree, and he's also worked as a respiratory therapist at the hospital, and that's kind of how I met Mark. He has a lot of interests: hiking, camping, fishing, family time, and traveling. But Mark has some really great talents that will serve this city well on the Planning Commission. I just want to mention a few. First of all, he's known to be extremely dependable. Second, Mark loves people. As an EMT, he learned the importance of dealing with people in such a way that helps him to feel comfortable. People like to be informed, and so he is known to take time to give appropriate answers. And being on the Planning Commission, many people are seeking answers, and Mark will be great at that. Thirdly, he has a desire to make a difference in our community. He understands that the Planning Commission can help to boost the community, and he feels like those that are new in our community can contribute. His words to me is, we can't stop the progress, we need to stay healthy. And so we interviewed 4 different candidates for this position, and Mark Thompson, thank you so much for your application and your devotion to the community already, and welcome to the Planning Commission. And just because this is so important, this is your very own copy of the land use plan. I put it in a binder. Now, mine looks like it's been through heck, because it has. But this land use plan is what Tremont City has in mind and what we're planning to do. And so when they say Tremont City, we have a plan, and we're going to be successful. So this is your very own copy of the land use plan. I've been saving it for you.
There'll be a test at the end of the meeting, pages 1 through 97.
Thank goodness. I'm a
Anyway,
speed
welcome,
reader.
and thank you for
Thank you.
accepting.
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, you ready to be sworn at? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support,
I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
That's it. You're good. I can get you to sign these. 2 copies. I'll give one to you.
This is my support.
Yeah, I like your support here.
Tell your support crew to go get him a little cookie there, Mark.
Come over here.
They'll not turn down a cookie.
If you want to keep that one, this one for my copy. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor.
Looking forward to working with you.
Okay, I don't know if many of you maybe noticed it in the paper, maybe some of the news media. There was a situation that happened here in the Tremont area a few weeks ago, a week or so ago. And one of our firefighters was there and was able to save this person's life. I'm not going to get into it because Chief Hansen got a great presentation that we're going to do. So if we could have Jimmy, it says James Munn, but I don't know anybody, anything else but Jimmy. So have Jimmy come up here and Chief Hansen, and we'll do the presentation.
Okay. For those of you who are in attendance, Jimmy Munns is one of our firefighters. He also is a part-time firefighter for us, also a full-time firefighter for Northrop. As I'm going to tell the story, you can correct. You're going to get a minute to correct any details. But I'm very, very proud to be a member of Tremont Fire Department that has people like Jimmy who are ready to go to work to help people at a moment's notice. A few weeks back, an individual, a lady was driving. It appears she was trying to find her way to a location. She may have gotten a little off track, and in her trying to find her way, she drove off the road into a canal. The full-size pickup truck that she was in drove into the canal, landed on the driver's side, was on its side, and the cab of the truck, the driver's compartment of the cab of the truck was fully submerged underwater. The driver was still in her seatbelt and was unable to get herself out. Jimmy had heard our page go off and knew that as he's on his way to work, that there was an incident somewhere within Tremont that our on-duty firefighters were being paged to. And as he's driving to work, he sees that it's a car accident and he's about to arrive at the car accident. So he quickly pulls over, jumps out, and asks the bystanders if anybody is in that truck where the cab is submerged in the water. The bystanders believed that there was likely somebody there. Without thought, my version of his story, he jumped into the water, jumped into the truck. If you can imagine, it's dusk. The water is pitch black, and he feels his way through the cab until he can find a patient. He finds the patient still strapped in her seatbelt, is able to retrieve his own pocket knife and cut both the lap belt and the chest belt and get her up out of the water. When he gets her out of the water, she has no pulse and she's not breathing. At that point, the on-duty crew is just arriving and they were able to assist Jimmy in getting the patient removed out of the vehicle. They quickly started CPR, and miraculously, through really good training and a really good crew, through Jimmy's immediate efforts and being at the right place at the right time, the patient was able to be, over a long period of time, revived in the hospital and is now home recovering from that incident. I'm very proud to be a part of an organization where people like that are training, preparing themselves, and always ready so that in the moment's notice, when somebody needs us, even at considerable fear, risk, uncertainty, able to go to work and in this case, truly save a life of an individual. And that individual is so grateful, and that individual's family is so grateful. And I have the opportunity to say thank you as the chief for your heroic efforts. And I believe the mayor has something he wants to present to you as well. Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
So, I was the one on TV, on the news, and the word hero's been thrown out a lot lately, but Mark was there, Andy was there, and Carl was there, and it's their efforts. I helped get the lady out, but those guys are just as much a hero as I am, if you want to call me that. They are just as much a part of this, and they're part of the reason that lady's alive and home today with her family. So, kudos to those guys.
Jimmy, one question. With them scouts here, how far did you get in scouting?
I'm an Eagle Scout,
There you go.
so, yep,
So,
there's your goal.
oh,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jimmy.
chief. Thank you. And EMS, we appreciate you so much. You know, none of us know when that moment might happen to any of us. And we've got competent and very responsible people that are ready to act when the time comes when any one of us could be in need. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Public comments. This is your opportunity to address the city council regarding your concerns or ideas. We ask that you would keep your comments to under 3 minutes. The time is now yours. Public comments is closed. Public hearing, this is a, regarding a petition to vacate a municipal utility easement, MUE, on parcel number 0212, which is located near the intersection of 2650 West and BR Mountain Road. This is this is your time to address this petition, if you choose. Okay, public hearing.
Did you have a question?
Okay, come, if you'd come up here to the podium here and then just tell us who you are and then address the,
Well, my name's Robert Hone, and actually, as I was looking at this, really, that's not ringing a bell as to where that is. Is there any way we could bring that up on Google Maps or something, just so we can better identify where that's located at?
we were looking at it a little bit ago. Yeah,
we can explain where it's at. If you go just down the road, up the road north of McDonald's, you come to that welding building. It's on the south side of that. And that road heads back to the west.
Okay.
And that's the BR Mountain Road that you're seeing here.
Okay. Where that's at.
The area, if you were to drive out that way, you'll see brand-new pavement and everything, and that's the area right there where the new pavement is on BR Mountain Road.
Kind of by them Ashfield Apartments, to east of them.
Okay, so the idea behind this is to create an easement there so that we can have a drainage basin there, is that correct?
It
Just in case of
was-
large,
It was a drainage
storms and
basin,
things like
and then they were vacating that drainage basin in favor of another one, a larger one, where there'll be a park and all of, it'll be much improved. And we're just vacating that, the one that you just saw there in favor of another one that's in that very kind of that vicinity. We're vacating that, and then we're going to, in favor of another one.
We show them what the future park's gonna look like. It's going in that area.
Where we got all the young people.
It's just down.
You can do it,
I
Lindsay.
think if you roll down,
I think it's just right after that.
it's like 2 after it.
so is the plan for that whole area?
Right here.
There.
Okay,
Maybe make it bigger.
so about in the area where the soccer fields are kind of located
Yeah.
there, right? Okay,
There's the apartments.
okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be a new park out that way.
Yeah, that's a lot more clear. Thank you for the clarification on that.
Well, I appreciate you coming. Yeah, thank you for, I think it made it a lot clearer for everybody. So that's good. I appreciate that. Are there any other comments? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Did you see it? Oh, okay. New council business, discussion and consideration of adopting ordinance number 23-06, approving a petition to vacate, so that's the vacation of the municipal utility easement on parcel 050550212, which is located near the future intersection of 2650 West and BR Mountain Road. Council?
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance number 23-06.
Motion by Wes.
Second it.
Second by Connie. Let's see, Wes, why don't you start it off this
West
time?
side.
Honey Archibald, aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Rick, I.
Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 23-63, approving a professional services agreement contract with Landmark Design to create a water use conservation element as part of the Tremont City General Plan and water conserving landscape ordinance. Sean, we've discussed this quite a bit in our work session. Did you have anything addition to add to it?
Not
add to
unless
it?
there's questions.
Council, are there any questions you wanted to bring up?
I think we went over it pretty good.
Oh, sure.
Just to address everybody here, we said it once before, but we meet at 6 o'clock as a city council, and we go over in great detail what these things are. So when we get to this meeting, we're approving or not approving, and there's not a lot of discussion that happens. You probably wonder where we've come up with a decision, but there's not a lot of discussion going on here. Just so you understand, this was really talked about in the previous meeting before we got to this one. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to adopt it unless somebody else needs to talk, huh? I'll go ahead and make a motion to adopt resolution number 23-63.
Motion by Lyle Vance,
I'll second.
second by Rick. Let's see, Brett?
Lyle Vance, aye.
Connie Archibald, aye.
West side.
Rick, I.
Motion passes, thank you. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 23-64, approving a professional services contract with Downtown Redevelopment Services and Urban Designer to design improvements, for restroom, permanent stage, and electrical pedestals in Midland Square associated with the city's implementation of a Rural Communities Opportunity Grant Award. Let's go ahead and have a little discussion about this. So what we've kind of done is several months ago, we were awarded a grant from the Rural Communities Opportunity Grant people to improve Midland Square. So what we want to do is we want to make that more of a, not just a square, but more of a gathering place and a place where we're going to have more activities and different things going on in the city. Things like you probably have seen the farmer's market, or you've seen Santa Claus come, and different things throughout the year, but we want to improve on that. We want to have more of those kind of opportunities. And so this would include a kind of redesigning Midland Square to have a amphitheater, a place for music and that kind of thing, different, more of a opportunity for people to come in and do vendors and that kind of thing, and they'd have power and all that kind of thing, restrooms and all that. So that's sort of the idea behind this, is to improve Midland Square and make it more of a gathering place for the community.
One thing, Mayor, but we won't be messing anything with our Memorial Square.
That's true. Yeah, the Memorial Square will stay. We're not going to tinker with that.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt this evening resolution number 23-64.
Motion by
I'll
Connie,
second it.
seconded by Wes. Let's see, Lyle, do you want to start it off?
Lyle Vance, aye.
Connie Archibald, aye.
West Eye.
Rick, aye.
Brett, aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. So we're going to move forward with that. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 23-65, approving a real estate purchase agreement between Tremonton City and Blake C. Christensen, trustee et al., for Tremonton City's purchase of land for the future expansion of Rocket Road, the minor arterial road. Sean, just briefly explain what's going on
Yeah,
here.
so this is Rocket Road, and the segment that we're looking to expand is between the railroad tracks and essentially the South Stake Center. And right now, it's a 66-foot right-of-way, and we're trying to, or we will expand it to an 80-foot right-of-way, which you can kind of see what that looks like here in the cross-section. It's essentially center turn lane, travel lanes in each direction, and on-street parking. And we have the rest of the right-of-way, with the exception of property that Blake and his family own. And so this will allow the city to acquire that property and start the improvements, although they might be done in a future construction year, probably not going to occur in 2024, but likely thereafter, soon thereafter.
And moving 10 feet to the south, and telephone poles moving, Utah Power moving those poles. So
Canal Bridge.
widen the bridge, those of you that have been up to Rocket Road.
And, I probably need to correct that. You will see some construction being done. There's 2 active developments on the south side of Rocket Road. And the developer, as a condition of approving their development, will construct their frontage and to the full right-of-way width. So there'll be 2 sections done, and then the city will complete this corridor in the future, probably after 2024.
Great.
Okay, I guess we'll, is there any other comment?
I'll make
ready?
a motion that we
okay.
adopt resolution number 23-65.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Lyle Vance and seconded by Connie. Let's see, Connie.
Connie Archibald, aye.
West Eye.
Rick, aye.
Brett, aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. That concludes our new council business. Calendar items, we just need to review the calendar for the next coming month or so, through the holiday season and so forth. We'll have one council meeting on November the 7th, and then Election Day, which would have been our other council meeting, we usually don't have council meetings on the night of the election day. So, and then, yeah. Oh, the Habitat, scroll back down. The Habitat for Humanity auction dinner. That's something that we do every year to support Habitat for Humanity. And we have a table. We have, Sean? I mean, 8 people, so 4 couples. Any of you are more than welcome to go to that. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great cause. It'll be down at the Academy Center in Brigham City. So let me know if you'd like to go to that, and we will plan on you. Let's see, I think that's everything. The City Holiday Open House coming up on the 21st. Same day as, we're going to do that the same day as Election Day?
Yeah, the election is gonna be at the senior center, if you wanna.
Oh, so it's not going to interfere with that? Okay, good. Okay.
Lindsay, is that a holiday? Just, it says Veterans Day observed.
It is, yeah, it's Veterans Day is the 11th, but we observe it on the 10th for,
So that's a holiday.
so yeah, you won't work that day.
I can go that night.
You can do a party that night.
Let's see, is there any unfinished business we need to discuss, council? Sean? Okay. Branding implementation, Mark, anything we need to add?
Yeah,
about there?
we're gonna get together with Paul and Sarah, our Main Street manager, and maybe some of the streets guys, and try to get the furniture placed. But we just wanna make sure it's in the right spot as we go and place all the furniture on Main Street, so probably in the next couple weeks, we'll do that site tour.
Okay, one other item, we do have coming up, calendar item. We're gonna have the youth city council get involved with, setting up or putting up the lights on Main Street, the tree lights. If any of you would like to be involved, let me know on that, and we'll make sure we.
What day?
Haven't got a day for certain yet. So
Don't do it on my day off.
that, but
Well,
we'll
that'd help.
let you know. I know you will. Okay. City administration reports and comments. Sean?
I do not have any.
Boy, this is, we're on a roll here. Okay, DRC committee reports, anything there?
I'm trying to think. Jack in the Box is working through an issue with UDOT. They their traffic impact study is requiring them to install a deceleration lane, and that was an unintended expense, so they're regrouping a little bit on that issue. We continue to work with them, and we're getting close on recording a few subdivisions that we've talked about in the recent past. And I think that's the majority of sort of what's happening.
Well, this is good. Department head reports. Chief, do you have anything for us today? Sorry, cut you in the.
Chief talking to chief.
We're visiting back there, we're planning. A couple of really quick things. Once, thanks for joining us in our Women's Cancers Awareness. It's our goal to prompt all the women in our lives to go get their screening, to do their checks, and get those cancer screenings. That's our message behind our pink shirts. So thank you. Also, I wanted to just let the council know that we were successful, second year in a row at receiving a grant from the state for $20,460 medical grant, which we are able to. They're reimbursing us for costs that we have. So we just show them invoices of costs we've actually incurred in providing medical services, and then they will provide us that state. In order to do that, we have to do a fair amount of legwork in helping the state do a study on rural EMS agencies. And I'm giving 110% of the credit to Chris Scothern, who has been doing this prior to my being here, and even after I'm here, he's still carrying that load. And so due to his diligence and work in representing the department, that's a $20,460 $460 grant to the fire department. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Let's see, Sarah, do you have anything for us? Okay. Mark, do you have anything addition? Okay, I guess. City council reports. Wes?
I seen my first police truck with the new branding on it. Keep an eye out for that. Looks pretty good. And I believe 775 East, they're making progress.
There they are.
In Blair's backyard, but,
Yep.
I mean, are they digging pipe and that, Blair?
Yeah, it looks like they got meters in and stuff.
So, they might get it asphalted this year. They're gonna try, so. Other than that, thank you, everybody, for everything you do, so.
Is that secondary that you're talking about?
What?
Digging?
No, they gotta put in sewer. and
Oh, that's the sewer.
water, Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, over on the river's edge.
but we're just hoping they can get that asphalted, that 775, even if they don't do the cul-de-sac. But if they do one, they'll do the other, but. A lot of concern from citizens on that road, so.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
I don't have anything, I don't think.
I don't either tonight.
Brett?
Are we gonna have a meeting on December 5th? Maybe not.
Yes.
Well, just in case, this may be Rick's last meeting. Okay, and so I just wanna
Oh,
tell
yeah.
Rick, thank you for the 4 years of service and,
Sure.
he's been a great addition to our council.
Yep.
And we will miss you.
Thank you.
I second that.
How many years was you on the planning commission, Rick?
9,
Done 9 years and then
4 here.
4 here. Lucky 13.
It is lucky.
'Cause you're done at 13, right? That's why it's lucky. Thank you. You've been a real asset to the community.
On that, do you want to?
It's been a roller coaster ride, so thank you. No, same thing. I truly appreciate everyone here, so. And even the department heads, they do a great job. Our city workers and everyone, so thank you very much for all that you do. You keep us going, so.
Sure.
And with that, we're grateful that our scouts hung it out with us tonight. Thank you for staying with us for the whole meeting. I don't have anything else. I guess we'd entertain one more motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
Motion and all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Thanks, everybody.